The movie begins with a vibrant Christmas scene, the streets adorned with festive decorations and snow gently falling, setting a cheerful holiday mood. Nell Harper enters the firm where she works, casually adding small Christmas decorations around the office. Charles Watt, the firm's owner, notices her decorations but isn't exactly pleased. He informs her of an upcoming trip to Brownstone for a property survey, and then walks away. During her tour of the property, Nell discovers a keystone and begins an exciting tale about its significance, tracing its origins to the house's original owner from the 1800s. With a sense of optimism and excitement, she proposes preserving the entire building, confident that the solid foundation makes it worth saving. Charles, however, disagrees. He explains that the firm's role isn't to preserve historic buildings and informs her that the structure will be demolished, as per the client's wishes. While dropping a donation into a Santa collection pot, Nell accidentally drops her bracelet in as well. As she reaches into the pot to retrieve it, a man notices and immediately assumes she's attempting to steal from the donations. Despite her attempts to explain, he doesn't believe her. The misunderstanding is eventually resolved when Santa himself retrieves the bracelet from the donation pot. The man attempts to apologize, but Nell cuts him off, telling him to have a little faith in people, especially at Christmas, before walking into the firm. Inside the firm, Charles decides to remove her from the Brownstone project and assigns her to remodel the Majestic Theater in her hometown of Brier Falls. The new owner plans to turn the Majestic into a multiplex, a prospect that instantly takes Nell by surprise. The Majestic has been part of her town for decades, serving as both the theater and pageant center, and it holds deep historical significance for the community. Charles, however, doesn't share her sentiment, and the new owner clearly has no attachment to the building, pushing for a remodel right after Christmas. At that moment, Charles receives a call informing him that the client has arrived, and just as fate would have it, Connor walks in, the same man who had accused Nell of stealing Santa's donation pot. Connor, clearly surprised to see Nell, apologizes once again, and Nell graciously accepts, starting afresh. They introduce themselves properly this time. Nell soon learns that the Majestic is actually Connor's inheritance from his late Aunt Emily. He expresses his regret over the building, explaining that while the pageant was deeply meaningful to his aunt, it no longer generates enough profit for him to justify keeping it. Nell suggests that, since he'll be in Brier Falls, he should check out the 12 Days to Christmas festival. However, Connor declines, claiming he's not a Christmas person, before quickly heading out. Nell can't help but make a face at his response. Things are definitely going to be rocky because she's an over-the-top Christmas enthusiast, while he couldn't be less interested. Nell arrives in Brier Falls a day early to surprise her parents. Sam and Bonnie greet her with a warm embrace, but Nell worries the town will blame her for canceling the Christmas show. Sam reassures her, saying she's just doing her job and it's not her fault. Despite her parents' reassurances, Nell still feels somewhat uneasy. Bonnie decides to lift her spirits with some Christmas treats, and Nell admires the decorations around the house. Noticing a pageant planner, she asks about its progress. Sam notes that it's bittersweet, as this will be the last pageant. He suggests Nell join the tableau, but Bonnie reminds him she has work to do. Nell, seeing no harm in doing both, agrees. Sam mentions the rehearsal time at the Majestic, but Nell decides to visit Roy and Hannah's antique shop first, as they're planning the Christmas festival. Before leaving, she and Sam both sneak a cookie from Bonnie, making her laugh. Like father, like daughter. Nell meets Roy at the shop and they share a playful moment, talking on telephones just a few feet apart. She asks about Hannah and learns she's nearby, finishing a decorating job. Nell heads down the street to find her, and the two friends share a warm embrace. Nell asks about the festival, and Hannah admits it's tough but enjoyable. However, when Nell offers to help, Hannah declines. Trying to be honest, Hannah mentions the town's disapproval of the project, but Nell quickly brushes it off, pointing out that it's not her decision. Hannah subtly asks about Connor, and Nell shares her thoughts on him. Sensing Nell's hesitation, Hannah encourages her to open up, prompting Nell to admit she feels out of place at the firm. Hannah reassures her, reminding Nell of her ability to turn things around, and cheers her up before she leaves. Nell runs into Barry at the Majestic and begins to realize just how unhappy the town is with the remodeling. Feeling nostalgic, she spots Connor sitting in one of the seats. He expresses his frustration over the town's treatment of him, and Nell tries to explain their deep attachment to the theater. Determined, she resolves to change his mind before the 12 Days to Christmas festival ends. During lunch with Hannah at Ella's Cafe, Nell is surprised to learn that Connor was once an active participant in the town's Christmas celebrations as a child. Armed with this new information, Nell and Hannah march to Connor's house, offering to decorate it. However, he politely declines, explaining that he's putting the house up for sale and plans to move once the project is completed. The next day comes with bad news. The pipes at the Majestic have exploded due to the cold, hereby canceling the pageant. Nell suggests some ideas for the remodeling, and to her surprise, Connor agrees with them. However, he disagrees with her suggestion to keep some of the original features. Well, a girl can only try. Nell takes Connor to help with Christmas decorations, but most of the town, including Barry, gives him the cold shoulder. She convinces him to join her family for dinner, where he expresses regret over the pageant's cancellation, and wishes the Majestic could be salvaged in time for the show. Just then, Sam announces that some floor damage has been repaired, giving Nell renewed hope for the pageant. As they discuss plans to restore the pageant, Connor suggests making it a modern scene, because Bonnie expresses that the traditional version the town knows would be too expensive. Nell isn't thrilled with the idea, but Sam urges her to consider it. To her surprise, Connor offers to cover the expenses for the show, leaving Nell taken aback by his generosity. The next day, Nell feels pressured after Charles calls to ask about her design progress and gives a new deadline. Meanwhile, Connor is finalizing his house sale and gets unsolicited advice to decorate for Christmas. On his way to the Majestic, a little girl thanks him for saving the pageant, which pleasantly surprises him. At the Majestic, Nell passionately tries once more to convince Connor to preserve some original features in the remodel. As expected, he doesn't budge. Just then, they hear singing, and Nell persuades him to join in. After a joyful time with the choristers, Nell opens up about her dreams of architecture, and Connor warms to her idea of screening classic films in the multiplex once a month. Connor opens up about his family, and Nell, a big family advocate, encourages him to spend more time with them over the holidays. When they return to his house, they're amazed by the massive Christmas decorations on his porch. The next day, Nell faces a creative block while working on the multiplex design. Frustrated, she abandons it and convinces Connor to join the snowman building contest instead. As Nell and Connor build the snowman, they loosen up and have fun like kids. While admiring their creation, Nell mentions her ex-boyfriend, sparking Connor's curiosity about their breakup. Nell explains that moving to another city was enough to end the relationship, and Connor assures her it's the guy's loss. Their snowman wins the contest, and the excitement leads to a warm embrace. That evening, as Nell walks down the street, Hannah teases her about having feelings for Connor, but Nell quickly shuts it down, insisting there's nothing serious between them. When she spots an antique piece once owned by Emily, she wishes she could design freely. Inspired by the piece, she hurries home to work on her idea. After spending the night drawing up designs, Sam praises the traditional design, which he prefers over the modern one Connor favors. At the Majestic, Connor learns about Emily's personal belongings and goes to check them out. Nell finds him upstairs and spots the keystone. Excited, she suggests incorporating it into the design, and Connor agrees. As Connor flips through Emily's photo album, he shares memories, and a romantic moment builds between them, almost leading to a heated kiss. But their moment is interrupted by a crash downstairs, and they rush to find the stage for the pageant destroyed. Determined to fix it in time for the show, they offer to help rebuild. The undeniable tension between them is palpable as they work side by side. As they leave, they run into Barry, who gives Connor the cold shoulder once again. At the cafe, Connor reviews Nell's multiplex design and is impressed by her creativity. He's particularly taken with the traditional theater model, but refuses to admit it, insisting it's not his style. Nell orders the Christmas special, and they enjoy a fun, carefree time eating ice cream together. Outside, Connor asks about the song playing, and Nell explains it's for the Christmas dance, though it's already over. Undeterred, Connor takes her hand, and they dance under the moonlight on the street like love-struck teenagers. Caught up in the moment, they share their first kiss, wrapped in each other's embrace. The next day, Nell eagerly tells Hannah about her romantic moment, typical girl talk. Though excited, she's uncertain about where things stand, especially since Connor plans to move right after Christmas. Just then, she gets a call from Connor asking for help picking out a Christmas tree, and she happily agrees to go with him. After decorating the tree together, Connor offers to take Nell out for dinner, and she happily agrees. However, her mood drops when she learns of his next project in California. Regretting the timing, she cancels their dinner to attend the skating show, but then invites him to join. He eagerly accepts, wanting to spend more time with her. At the skating rink, Nell opens up to Connor about her struggles at the firm, constantly clashing with their vision. Connor offers some advice, suggesting she might not belong there. Though she dreams of striking out on her own, Nell feels scared to try something new. They then take to the rink, with Nell teaching Connor how to skate. The next day, Nell reflects on her life choices and calls Charles to set up a meeting to discuss her final designs before heading to rehearsals. Outside, Connor waits for her, disappointed to learn she's rushing to the city to meet Charles instead of having dinner with him. In the office, Nell faces her fears and tells Charles she's leaving the firm, feeling she doesn't fit in. Though disappointed, Charles understands her reasoning and agrees to let her go once she finishes the Majestic project. Back in Brier Falls, Connor picks up the hard copy of the design from Bonnie and finds the traditional one. Deciding to take it with him, he leaves. At home, he's surprised when Barry informs him that he won the Best Christmas House Decoration Award. Excited about winning the decoration award, Connor rushes to Roy and Hannah's store to pick out a Christmas gift for Nell. But when Hannah mentions that Nell is leaving the firm, Connor's mood dwindles and he leaves abruptly. Later, Nell arrives at his house, eager to share details of her day, only to find out he already knows about it. He's disappointed, believing she's given up on the Majestic project since she never liked the concept. Taken aback, Nell corrects him, explaining she's still committed to finishing the project despite quitting her job. Realizing he's assumed the worst again, Connor tries to apologize, but Nell, hurt by his assumptions, cuts him off. She tells him their differences are too great and that she doesn't think they'll work out, and leaves. Feeling down, Nell curls up in her room. Bonnie checks on her, and Nell opens up about the rift with Connor. Bonnie gently advises Nell to take some time off, pointing out that while Connor can be infuriating, Nell is also stubborn, not easily giving second chances. She reminds Nell that at least the Christmas pageant is happening because of both of them, and that's something to be proud of. Meanwhile, Connor sits in the cafe, staring at his food, feeling down. Ella notices and tells him about a younger version of himself, urging him to stay in the town. Connor admits he's grown fond of Brier Falls, but feels unsure because he's messed up with Nell and doubts she'd want him anymore. Ella encourages him to have faith. At the Christmas pageant, with activities underway, Bonnie is short on staff. Nell offers to find Hannah to help but runs into Connor instead. Surprised to see him there, she's curious about his presence. Connor hands her a Christmas present, and guess what? It's her traditional design plan for the Majestic. Stunned by his change of heart, Nell asks why, and Connor explains that spending 2 weeks in town and experiencing the festival with her has taught him valuable lessons. He realizes not everything needs to change, and that the town doesn't need a multiplex. He apologizes again and asks for a second chance. Overwhelmed, Nell rushes into his arms for a deep, passionate kiss. After sharing the news with her family backstage, Connor talks about his plans for the Majestic. Nell invites him to Christmas dinner at her parents' house, and he gladly accepts, mentioning that his parents will be joining them as well since he invited them over for Christmas. Nell smiles warmly, thrilled by the idea. Connor drops his California project and decides to stay in Brier Falls, while Nell also remains to begin her first project at Ella's cafe. It seems their lives finally fall into place, side by side. Barry is brought in with a sprained ankle, unable to join the final presentation. Connor steps in to replace him, much to everyone's delight, including Barry. The final presentation is a captivating Christmas spectacle that enchants the audience. In the end, Nell and Connor, at the heart of the performance, share a deep kiss under the mistletoe, bringing the beautiful evening to a perfect close.